Don't let you sneak in that record button anymore on the down low. So here we go into the PowerPoint. So I'm really glad that you are here. Today's masterclass, living in alignment with our best lives. So how do we take on self-leadership and find new opportunities and avenues of health for us and our planet? I had some interesting experiences in my career and with um, coworkers and employees around me popping pain meds to the point that they were checked into the hospital for liver failure. It really occurred to me that we need to be prompting people to take self-leadership and self-ownership in their own wellness whenever they can in order to live our highest lives. So we're going to talk about self-leadership. We're going to talk about why wellness is not easy and natural and intuitive as it might be for the mainstream population. Talk about wellness services, talk about unintentional living, traditional living being not so good for the planet, talking about intention and how we are affected by labeling and lack of government oversight in some of these areas, talking about quality. I'm going to use doTERRA as a test example and talk about stress and detox and how this is carried on to our future generations and how we can really shift the needle on epigenetics using our olfactory system. So self-leadership really requires, this is something I work with my clients on a lot, requires an enthusiasm for learning. It requires us to be setting goals in our life and in our relationships, whether they are personal or business. A willingness to let go and trust when we are asking for the highest common good, we're asking for divine intervention. Sometimes we don't know exactly what that looks like in the end, but if we hold that trust and faith that we are in alignment and asking for the greatest common good, how we get to play in that world. Planning and scheduling, focus and discipline. And in the wellness world, we've really got to be asking the right questions and not just buying the first bill of goods that we come across. So wellness truly is a combination, and you've probably heard me say this, of emotional health, mental wellness, physical strength and health, spiritual wellness, and even financial health. And as Roald Dahl is famous for saying, those who don't believe in magic or wellness are not going to find it. Something we've got to look for, we've got to seek out. So life by choice, not chance, is critical. This slide shows two different fairly mainstream news sources talking about the same topic, how much we are exposing our bodies to as women every day in the chemical world. So ABC News reported 168 chemicals a day that we are putting on or in our bodies. And HuffPost quoted 515 chemicals per day. Now, this was just published 1 year apart, 2013 and 2014, but clearly the trend we're on is not a great one. Many different reasons for this, but we absolutely need to seek out good health and not expect that it's just going to happen. So considerations on when we want to get healthy and detox, the simpler the better, right? We need to get started and we need to keep it simple. When I work in my ritual reset programs with people, I introduce changes just a couple at a time, not all at once, because we want it to be sustainable. We want our rituals, our wellness lifestyle, to be something that we ease into and feel good about as we go. It should not be putting us into a state of overwhelm. So keeping all the discs in the air, right? There's a lot of questions to be asked, including, aren't they all clean? And the answer simply is no. They're not all the same. There is perfume grade and food grade, and we know that there is a vast gray area in between those two. So the closer we can get to food grade, if not right in the middle of food grade, the better off we're going to be. Of course, even with the very best certified pure therapeutic grade oils in the world, there are some that are still not recommended to take internally. And our oils in the bottles absolutely recognize that. So here's a bottle of Align. I'm diffusing this for our alignment class today. It's part of the yoga series. And this one does not show the supplement facts box on the bottle. So we know that this is for aromatherapy and topical use. It is not synthetic at all, right? We know that it's still the high quality oils that we've come to expect from this standard. And we also know that it's not for internal use because there's no supplement box on it. So that's a really easy way to know. Now, going down to the gas station and buying something that you would normally put on an air freshener hanging from your rear view mirror is not going to give you at all the same outcome. So we're using a test case of doTERRA. Quality matters. Quality is tested, and as it's tested, it's trusted. So this is critical in our journey forward. We have 54 quality assurance tests that are run on every batch of oil before they are ever sold. We do have raw product that comes into the distiller, and the distillers are all over the world, very close to where the harvesting is going on. And so the testing is happening very close to the point of distillation. We have turned away many batches of oils and raw products that were not up to the standard. And so we are not accepting that. My favorite oil right now is Clary Calm. It's my hormone blend, and it was off the shelf for a while last year, and I was really unhappy about that, but at the same time grateful, because this is how we uncover adulteration. This is how we uncover testing that, you know, maybe the batch of raw clary sage was harvested at the wrong time, and the chemical constituent that is so very helpful that's in clary sage was not in a high enough amount in the plant material. We never know what the reasons are as consumers, but we know we can trust it. So we have a slew of research universities working with us. Certified pure therapeutic grade is the gold standard for the industry. This is a standard that was created by doTERRA, reflective of their quality assurance, quality control. And so we are able to ensure that we're going to get therapeutic benefits with nature's medicine when we know that it meets these standards. GRAS is a nomenclature that was created by the FDA and generally recognized as safe, is how the FDA ranks any kind of consumable product. If it's acknowledged as safe, then we can consume it internally. Most companies that are out there, of course, are not recognized as safe for internal consumption. So quality control steps for this company also look like working directly with villagers. We have boots on the ground in all of our countries of source. All of our cultivators work exclusively with doTERRA, and the distillers. So our relationships around the world, I think of it being like the locavore movement, but spread around the planet, really taking care of people where we are. And it helps us to really protect the precious supply of plants and people. For example, frankincense in Somaliland. So this is a great map to show all of the different regions around the planet where we're sourcing our different oils. So co-impact sourcing is absolutely imperative within this company. It is one of our commitments to ethical sourcing and treatment of people. And that means that we're going to where the plant products are evolved or have an identical climate to the one they evolved in. So that means that we can look around the planet and see that we're getting Siberian fir from Siberia. We are getting things like lavender, melissa, yarrow, and rose from Southern Europe. We even have in Bulgaria now created a new distillery called Esoteric, and we are cultivating rose and lavender in Bulgaria. It's identical climate to where these plants evolved. And so we are able to have the distilling for that part of the world done in Bulgaria and employing a whole slew more people to work at that distillery. So you can see that we are all around the planet. Blue tansy from Morocco, frankincense from the east coast of Africa, eucalyptus from the southern tip, tea tree and eucalyptus and now Neuli from Australia. So we are a global citizen and global steward, and that is something that really sets us apart from other companies, because when a plant evolves with a climate, say for example, sage in Nevada, the sage components, those products, the chemicals in the product that are therapeutic are going to be the most robust and strong where that plant evolved. So we don't get lavender from Reno, but if we had a market for sage, we would get sage from the Great Basin. So that's sort of how that works, and it guarantees that we've got the best plant materials in the world. Okay, so this is an example of a sourcing couple. They are in Africa. We are committed to supplying the highest essential oils as we work hand in hand with the people who are working in our supply chain. We pay them so that they can take care of their families. We also sign 5-year agreements with them so that they know they can plan for their families for 5 years. And I know this slide says over 40 countries. I believe we're closer to 50 countries now. And it's just really excellent because these are real people who are committed to using the ethical harvesting, sustainable harvesting protocols that we help develop if that's not already in place for them. And then they are absolutely thrilled to be working with us because we pay them like real people. So we have uplifting stories from all over the developing world. Of course, frankincense from different regions in Africa, depending on which form of frankincense we're talking about. Siberian fir coming out of Russia and the whole Siberia area. Madagascar, right? We get our cinnamon bark and a couple of other plants there. And as we know, there are severe habitat issues in Madagascar, including for lemurs and other very charismatic mammals that we like to go see in zoos. And so as we're working with the villagers and conservationists, we're also protecting habitat by sustainably harvesting these products. Okay, so what about right here? In the Truckee Meadows, we have some pretty unique systems. And if we look around outside of our immediate area, we also have other similar systems. But after World War II, Big Pharma looked out across the baby boomer generation and said, each of these people need to be on 5 meds by the time they retire. As a toxicology student, I never heard that quote or that quota spoken, but I can tell you that I intuited it. And that's why I've never worked in the world of pharmaceuticals or kinetics, pharmacokinetics, because there's just something about it that didn't feel genuine and it didn't feel benevolent. And so after the year 2000, they pretty much, Big Pharma met those goals. And so as we're on different kinds of medicine in the mainstream American population, what we take in also has to come out. So this image depicts the idea that here, at least in the Truckee Meadows, we have 2 different systems of water treatment or transport. We have our indoor plumbing. And Bonnie, I know that back there, I think you guys have combined sewer systems, but here, what we use for our indoor plumbing goes into a sewer pipe and off to the treatment system. What comes off of our ground here and into the storm drain system actually goes directly into the river without being treated. This storm drain system on the West Coast and in all of the newer cities, you guys were developed so long ago, Bonnie, that I think it was all mixed up and it all goes to the treatment plant. Here, it doesn't. So everything we put outside goes straight into the river. However, when we take medicines out, if we don't get medicine, when we take medicines in, we either get medicines out. In the case of vitamins, that's true most of the time, or we get metabolites out. And so when the sewer system collects all of our metabolites, it doesn't remove those chemicals from our water before we drink it. And our drinking water here, 75 to 85% of it, depending on what time of year it is, comes right out of our river. So we don't want Viagra in our drinking water. We don't necessarily want heart medicines in our drinking water. And so it's time that we help our communities naturalize and find natural approaches to their needs. So here in the Truckee River, we have a closed system. All of our water that drains into Lake Tahoe has an opportunity to come out at Fanny Bridge, down along through the Truckee River Canyon into Reno and Sparks, and onto tribal lands and a closed system. It winds up in Pyramid Lake. There's lots of surface and groundwater commingling in this area, but we can be sure that this river is not really acting like a treatment system for our water. And so there is a lot of population between Lake Tahoe, Truckee, Reno, and Sparks, and Pyramid Lake. So the more we can protect our watershed, the more we can protect our own health. And as I once heard someone say, we all live downstream. No matter where we live in the system, unless you're drinking out of your own well, we're drinking out of the river. So, unintentional. A lot of people think that they can go to CVS and buy some sweet smelling stuff to put on their bodies, and there are no poor or negative side effects. I'm here to tell you that these are the lists of chemicals, just some of the chemicals that are in our synthetic fragrances. And this is what adds to those numbers that we saw earlier about how many chemicals we put on our bodies every day. So I think the journal prompt here is, what kind of a world do you want to live in? I know what kind of a world I dream of, and it doesn't look like relying upon chemistry for better living. So we have unintentional consequences, right? There's different types of estrogens, and our endocrine system makes up all of those adrenal glands and other types of glands in our system. They all interact with our organs. We're talking about thyroid, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, adrenaline, cortisol, right? These are all things that play together in our system. And one of the things about hormone health is we never know how close we are to the tipping point until we, as she says, you're going to make me do something that'll end up in the news. Sometimes it takes an explosion on a personal level to realize how out of whack we are. So when we are using synthetics and our own levels of estrogen are very much set up with a sort of lock and key mechanism, our estrogens that are natural in our bodies link onto the receptor site, okay? Now, synthetic chemicals that are out there in the world, including pesticide breakdown products, this type of chemicals, we can generalize because a whole bunch of them mimic estrogens. Okay, so we tend to call those xenoestrogens. It's basically the pretend estrogens. And then there are phytoestrogens. Phyto means plant. So when we use soy products and when we take plant-based soy products that are estrogenic supplements or other natural sources of estrogen, these are phytoestrogens. Now, there's only so many receptors on our cells for our estrogens to bind to actually have the cell in the flow of its own function, whatever the function of that cell is, whether it's a skin cell or whether it's an adrenal cell or whether it's an ovary cell. And so when we have a lot of chemicals in our system, all of these reds are chemicals, they tend to block our own natural estrogens from doing the lock and key mechanism in our cells. And so by using phytoestrogens, we can actually provide things that block out the xenoestrogens, but we've also got to reduce our chemical inputs in our bodies if we're going to have that biochemical cascade proceeding correctly. And I know that's a lot of science, but suffice to say, less chemicals means better health for all of us and less news reporting on the personal level. So wellness lifestyle means big benefits, right? We are so connected in this world. We have our sunshine, we have our water, we have our food, we have the energy that goes between us, we have the air we breathe. We are sharing these resources. And so, as such, someone who goes to Walmart and buys all the synthetics and all of the fast food and all of the things are going to be sharing that with the world in the ways that they do, whether it's waste products, whether it's disposable packaging, or whether it's poor air quality from a V8 engine that's being driven really fast. We could also have pesticides applied to the yard area and washing down the storm drain. And so we really need to eliminate those synthetics where we can in our lifestyle. And as we are moving in these realms, we get to decide, right? What is our highest intention and how do we step into our best selves? And so, if we are going down a path one way or another, we get to choose which path that is. And I think the intention and the presence of the path is what really brings it full circle for us. Okay, so metabolic support. Metabolism is how, it's not just how fast we burn fat. I know metabolism seems to get a bad rap, and everybody thinks about, the weight loss industry when they hear the word metabolism, but it also is how our body creates energy, how our body heals itself, and how it detoxes itself and gets rid of the toxins. So, as we are moving into our dream state of detoxing and being super healthy, there are really two different ways of detoxing our bodies and trying to get more on board with supporting our healthy systems. We can go the route of detoxing with nutritional support, or we can do focused cleansing. Both of them are going to provide detox benefits to our body. However, nutritional support is consistent. It's not going to bounce us up and down with energy or a lifestyle. It provides core support and it's gentler on our organs and our system. When we do focused cleansing and it seems a little bit more aggressive and stressful, we're not supporting our bodies with nutrition or supplementation, then we tend to have less healthy reactions happening in our body, like the Herxheimer reaction, where we're actually doing more damage than good. So, integrated nutritional support is so important. Our bodies are already stressed. And so, as we are moving through this wellness lifestyle, I cannot stress enough the need to prop ourselves up and fully support our cellular functions with integrated nutrition. Stress is stress is stress. Stress is not my dream. I'm sure it's not your dream, but it's on the rise, right? So when we think about how many people in our US stress statistics regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress, the WebMD Health News estimated 77%. Now, even kiddos are experiencing a lot of stress, especially with this pandemic. So these statistics were all pre-pandemic. And I know that we have gotten a lot more stressed out due to the effects of isolation and quarantine. So forest bathing and nature time are being considered hot health advice by national medical associations. And I am excited about the prospects because this is something that I love to do on a regular basis. And I want to start getting people out in the woods more for different types of treatments. So this is where we ask ourselves the next question. Am I meeting my dreams or am I meeting someone else's dreams? Me being stressed out is not my dream, but Big Pharma, when they set out their goals to get every person on 5 meds, I'm helping to meet their dreams if I'm living the life of stress. So I want to be really mindful and I want to make healthy options happen for myself and my family and everyone I get to work with. One of the healthy options is nutritionally supported detox with whole foods and natural supplementation. Now, these bottles right here, this Lifelong Vitality, is our main selling, our top selling product. It, of course, is the 3 bottles that go into having a full nutritional suite of wellness as your foundation. Terrazyme is digestive enzymes. This is a really solid way to make sure that we're getting all of the energy we need out of our food and creating a system that is more very much supported naturally in our digestive process. Of course, we know about the mind-gut connection, and Terrazyme is a gateway to really emphasizing that connection. Zendocrine is one of our detox products. It's included in our long-term cleanse. It's also something that you could get and take for a month by itself with the vitamins, just to basically act like the Roto-Rooter. This is a psyllium-based product. And it's just excellent to have this kind of detox support. So studies are pointing towards essential oil components being natural upregulators of the detox process. So this is really great, right? When we have certified pure therapeutic grade oils, we can expect therapeutic endpoints. So this means our detoxing, our calming, our pain management, our allergy relief, digestive, immunity, sleep, cardio, energy, and metabolic support is all there. Whatever our goal is, specific goals for where we want to move the needle on our wellness lifestyle, we can find support naturally. So this is a good slide to look at the next journal prompt and think, how do I want my energy output, my spending products to go out into the world? I want to get the most back for my energy output, right? That's why I love hanging out with healers, because energy in is energy out, right? It's a full cycle. If it's not a full cycle, you definitely feel it, right, Bonnie? And then how well do your purchasing decisions, your consumer behavior align with your core values? So these are all things that are really fantastic to consider. We think about our multi-trillion-dollar healthcare budget in this country, 80% is spent on reactive medical care. They call it healthcare, some call it sick care, but it's basically the top 2 steps here, self-care and medical care. 80% of our budget for healthcare in this country is spent on those 2 steps. And when I talk about self-care, I'm using that term very loosely because when we are informed and we use frankincense or peppermint or both for a migraine, instead of taking migraine meds, that's informed self-care. When we talk about proactive medical care, it means that we are trying to get out in front of the curve, right? We're trying to get out in front of a sense of or a state of dis-ease. So if we can use 80% of our efforts instead to focus on these first 4 steps, eating right, integrated nutrition, exercise, metabolic support, sleep and stress management, and reducing our toxicity, that's how we get the healthy lifestyle. That's how we really improve our quality of life. And so with science, we can support natural approaches to our lifestyle. We can have our products coming to our door. We can have the kind of quality that we want to be spending our money on rather than the default in mainstream society. And so Ditch and switch. I talk about this all the time. What is it that we are doing that we're purchasing on a regular basis that could be naturalized, that we can get through our wholesale program and with points back at half the retail price? We certainly have lemon for our drinking water, On Guard to keep us healthy and purify, for uplifting the scent or removing the stink from our stinky washcloths, right? We've got fluoride free toothpaste with On Guard in it that is fabulous for our dental health without having a neurotoxin in it. We have our On Guard cleaner concentrate that goes for months in between refills because it's a concentrate. We have our spa products, our facial care. Really, there's so much available to us that is supported by science. And I'm grateful for that, because we all need to just take a deep breath and slow down and get off the merry-go-round. And so these are our experiences. And this is the test case. I've never seen a company like this before. So, our next steps together, we've got to ask more questions. Going into our medicine cabinet, looking at where it is that we want to upgrade and up-level our lifestyle. Oh, excuse me. Our house is surrounded by pine trees, and it's that time of year. We need to ask more questions. We need to demand the highest quality as energy exchange. Don't purchase essential oils unless they are recognized by the US FDA and certified pure therapeutic grade. You don't want to accidentally be dosing yourself with chemicals. Naturalize your medicine cabinet and home using trusted products, right? Align with people around you who are in mission similar state, and switch and ditch. Feel better, share it with your family and your community. And this is how we are able to live like a village and take care of each other. You don't have to do it alone. Our customized guidance is here. You both know that I do wellness consults that are free of charge. And we also have things like essential emotions classes, medicine cabinet makeover classes. I also do athletes classes, mamas and babies, all different types of classes that are on the wellness range. So if you have a specific class that you'd like to see, of course, always reach out. We can do these on Zoom since we have not reopened the training center since the pandemic. That might be the easy way, or we can always get together and have a backyard session or a session at your business as well. He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything. Friends, the world needs hope right now. We are in a terrible state of disbelief and lack of faith. And so bringing hope to the world is something that is my mission. And I would love for you to jump on board with me. Our worlds are connected in more ways than you know. So this is a page out of my children's book, The Secret Life of Streams. And Danielle Daniel is a Psych D. She just finished her doctorate in psychology. She quoted at the last convention I was participating in that hope is the bridge between negative emotions and positive emotions. This is how we shift our world, is with hope. And the olfactory system is so critical for our emotional state. It comes ready to be programmed. So the question is, what program are you going to choose for your highest and best life? With the research that's being done, we're seeing amazing suggestive results on inherited responses and our emotional response through epigenetics to different scents. We're connected to the aromas that impacted our ancestors. And I can tell you that our ancestors went through a lot. So what do we want to pass on? How do we want to break those chains and create a new ripple? The epigenetics of metabolism is an incredibly burgeoning area. I grabbed this slide because I am fascinated And with people like Danielle and others that are affiliated with doTERRA in the science world, the sky's the limit, and it's really, really exciting stuff. This is how we heal. So the components that we're finding in certified pure therapeutic grade oils are helping shape who we are at a DNA level. We're healing our ancestors' wounds. And when we are able to work at this level, there is hope. And I want to leave you both with that. Our olfactory system is so much more extensive than we ever knew. And it's also our digestive systems, our muscles, and our brain carrying the receptors of our olfactory system. And so when we take oils internally, when we use them aromatically, and when we apply them to our muscles, we are helping to reprogram our responses to external stimuli. And that's how we create neuroplasticity. That's how we get into a different emotional a state of being. And that's how we find solutions to these very complicated psychological and sociological problems that we see in our world today. So with that, I thank you. I want to open it up to any questions if you guys have any questions at all. And I'm going to try to get back to where I am seeing the chats again. So ladies, that was a lot of information. Do you have any comments or questions?
No, I think you covered everything really, really well. And that was a lot of awesome information for sure.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to make it. Thank you for coming. And,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
sometimes it's about